This is Oluwadiaga from the Christian Mentoring Association, and welcome to another session of Mentoring Nuggets and Five. Today is going to be a question and answer one. So if you've got any questions, please send me the questions. Just put it in the comment section, and I'll try and answer them. But I'm going to start with answering some of the questions that have been sent in to me. And the first question that was sent in was the person asked, on average, how long does or should a person have a mentor for? And is there a time limit or not really? And the truth is that you can have, it depends on what you're looking for in the mentoring relationship. It depends on the reason why you want to mentor. So, for example, if it's a career mentor, you might decide to have the career mentor for as long as you want. Just to climb the not the social, the career ladder. If it's a spiritual mentor, again, it depends on what you're looking for. But what I've found is that most times, even when the mentoring relationship ends, what tends to happen is that people, because they've been friends, if it's been a good mentor relationship, they still keep up the friendship. They're able to call their mentor at any time just to find out things. So just, it depends on you. So the first thing you need to ask when you go into the mentor relationship is, what am I looking for in this relationship? That will determine how long the relationship will go for. But you find out, like I said, that most times the relationship will go on for much longer than you want it to. And if at the end you've achieved the goals that you wanted to, then you can put in the mentoring relationship. So again, hello to everyone that's just joined. If you've got any questions, just type it into the comment section and I will answer them. The second question that was sent in to me was, and should a person only have one mentor, or can you have multiple mentors speaking into different areas of your life? Again, you can have as many mentors as you want. But what I always say is that make sure that the mentors speaking to you, their voices are not contradicting one another. So, for example, if you have a mentor at work, you have a spiritual mentor, you have someone speaking into your life, let's say a marriage mentor or different, just make sure that their values align so that their voices are not contradicting each other. That is so important. That's why I try to say, if you're going to have a mentor, not a mentors, try not to have more than 2, maximum 3. But if you have 5 mentors, I think that's probably a bit too much. Most important thing is, make sure that the values of your mentors align with your values, so that also that their voices are not contradicting one another. Okay? Then the third question I was asked was, what tips can you give for choosing a good mentor? Now, I think it was when I had Dr. Adiaga as my guest. One of the things he said was that, which I just said, was that your values must align with that of your mentor. But a gentleman called Tim Emerald actually came up with an acronym for choosing a good mentor, which I think is so good, and it's GOALS. GOALS, goals. And the G stands for godly. So make sure that your mentor has godly characteristics that are worth imitating. So that's the G. Then the O is objectivity. Your mentor should be objective in everything that he says to you. They must be able to see your strength, your weaknesses, and they must be objective about it. That's GO. Okay, A is your mentor must be authentic. So they must be real. There must be people who are vulnerable with you. And how do you, of course, when you first meet someone, how do you know that they're real people? How do you know that they'll be authentic? What you do is just ask them a question. Ask them a question about, so when you, have you been through any difficult challenges? How did you handle it? Just ask them a question that will make them talk to you, and hopefully you'll be able to find out if they're real or not. Now, let me talk about being real and being vulnerable. A lot of times we struggle with vulnerability because we think that vulnerability is a weakness. But vulnerability is not a weakness. It's actually strength. So look for mentors who will be open with you, who will tell you as it is, and they'll be open to share their lives with you. Basically, that's what I'm saying. So goals, remember goals, tips for those who have just joined, Tips for looking for getting a good mentor is goals. G stands for godliness. O, objectivity. A, authenticity. L stands for loyalty. Look for people who are loyal to others. Look for how do they treat others? Are they loyal to their relationships? Are they loyal to the people around them? So make sure you're looking for people who are loyal, or a mentor who is loyal. And the last one, S, is servanthood. Now, I'm very particular about this. Look for people who serve others, people who are generous with their time, who are generous with their resources, and also who are generous with their wisdom. People who share things, who serve. So, for example, look for someone who, if somebody is in church, for example, do they serve? I'm not saying that's a number one criteria. It doesn't even mean you have to serve in church. It could be, are you serving your community? Are you serving someone else? So always look for people who exhibit servanthood, servant leadership in a mentor. Again, let me go back for those who have just joined. And tips, this is answering the question, tips for getting a good mentor. Tim Emroy came up with this, and it's goals, GOALS, godliness, objectivity, authenticity, loyalty, and servanthood. Okay, for those who have just joined, again, please, 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 if you've got any questions whatsoever, please type them into the comment section and I will answer them. Thank you so much. I can see loads of you have joined in, typing your questions. I've just got one other question. So if at the end of this last question you don't have any other questions, then that will be it. So this is your chance to ask me any question that you have. The next question I was sent in was someone, she said, it would be nice if you could mention the difference between coaching and mentoring. Now, of course, a lot of times we tend to confuse the two, but they're very similar, because sometimes as a mentor, you find out that you're coaching. But coaching is helping you through the process of achieving a specific development or competence or capacity. Coaching most times helps you to clarify your goals. But again, you find out that in mentoring, your mentor is also helping you to clarify your goals. So you come with the goals and you work with your goals with your mentor. So that's where the similarity is. But most times coaching is working towards developing a specific competence or capacity. But mentoring, on the other hand, is more holistic. It's about working with someone to do life. I always say mentoring is about doing life together. It's about, yes, mentoring is about doing life together. You're encouraging, you're nurturing. Sometimes you help to maximize different areas of their life. So unlike coaching, which usually is more specific to a specific area of your life, for a mentor, especially Christian mentoring, is more holistic. So it's every area of your life where you're working with that individual. So those are the questions that have been sent in. If you have any other questions, I think, I've even gone past the 5 minutes, but I can take one more question if you've got any question. I'm waiting. But if you haven't, I'll say this to you. If you're not already into mentoring, mentoring is life-changing. There's nothing like coming alongside another person and doing life with them. We were not created by God to do life alone. Honestly, God created every single one of us to do life together. And you're missing out or not being in a mentoring relationship. Okay, what are the boundaries in being a mentor such that you don't become too familiar? Oh, I love that question. Thank you. Can't see the name properly. Janet, thank you. What are the boundaries? This is something I'm not sure if I'll deal with it in 2 weeks' time, but I'll answer the question now. In any mentoring relationship, you have to have boundaries. So the kind of boundaries you should talk about is, for example, time boundaries, restriction boundaries. So you don't come to my house. That is, again, it depends on the kind of relationship. At the beginning, you specific things you don't talk about. I think I did mention that when I was talking about confidentiality. Specific things you don't talk about, areas that are out of bounds. You should sit down with your mentor or mentee and talk about the boundaries. It's so important. Boundaries are frameworks, and every single one of us should have boundaries. The other type of boundaries you can have is I don't take calls from let's say 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. or whatever time it is. But it's always good to talk about boundaries. I can't tell you exactly what boundaries will work for you and your mentor or mentee, but you know the areas that you won't want to touch. So it's good to sit down with your mentee and talk about those areas, and that's that. In that way, you don't become too familiar, and that's why again. Last time I talked about expectations. It's so important to manage people's expectations. That's why you guys should sit down and talk about your expectations, talk about boundaries, talk about confidentiality, and those are the things that help to have good mentoring relationships.